How do you avoid writing half your project every time the design or business decide to change, say, the colors across most of the UI? And more broadly, how do you build a theme that stays flexible at every stage of the product, from an MVP all the way to a large enterprise application? If you stick around until the end, you'll see why simple moving your colors into variables isn't enough. More importantly, I'll show you how one simple model lets you completely change the color scheme of an entire app in literally 5 minutes without touching a single component and keep the system ready for whatever design or business changes come next. Interested? Then please hit like, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. And let me know what you think in the comments. I read and replied to all of them. Hello, my name is Eugene and I build frontend systems with a strong focus on architecture, scalability, and long-term maintainability. Today I want to talk about an approach called Spatial UI. This won't be a theoretical breakdown or an explanation in vacuum. Using a real example, I'll show you what kinds of design and business requirements it helps solve, how much time it can save, and just how simple it is to implement in practice. And we'll start with the requirements. Let's say our product is still in the MVP stage. We already have a color palette, the overall visual style, and plenty of finished components. Then design comes in and says, marketing says the current look isn't working. We need to rethink almost the entire color scheme. And for a startup, that's completely normal. While the product is still taking shape, colors and visual hierarchy can change again and again. But this time we need to update almost everything. The main background, navbar, cards, navigation elements, and dozens of other parts of the UI. Sure, all our colors are already stored in variables, so we don't have to hunt down hex values across the entire code base. But our components still use things like Slate 775, Slate 850, and other palette values directly. And names like this barely help us with the actual task. Slate 775 tells us what color is it, but not what role it plays in the interface. It might be used on a card, in the navbar, or in some completely unrelated element. So we can safely change it globally, and changing it selectively put us right back into touching components one by one. We could go one step further and call our colors primary, secondary, and so on. For text, that hierarchy works great. Primary content, secondary content, perfectly clear. But what does primary mean for the UI itself? The page background, a card, the navbar. We just swapped one abstract name for another, and we still haven't defined the color's role. So this is where we need a slightly different way to think about theming. Instead of naming colors by shade or by some abstract importance like primary and secondary, we can describe the role each color actually plays in the UI. And this is where I like to use a mental model called Spatial UI. With Spatial UI, we think of the interface as a space made up of surfaces and different depths. So instead of caring about the specific color, we care about the visual role it plays and where it belongs. Now the name describes what the color is for, not what this current value happens to be. To do that, we split the theme into two layers. The first is primitive tokens, basic values like the colors in our palette. The second is semantic, or role tokens, which describe what those values mean inside the interface. Put simply, the first layer answers, what do we have? The second answers, what do we use it for? And here's the key idea. The role stays stable even when the design changes. A surface might use one shade today and a completely different one tomorrow, but its job in the interface hasn't changed. Now let's see how well this model fits our actual problem. First, we'll define the roles of the main surfaces in the app. The header and the deepest areas become surface-sunken. The main background is surface base, cards and sections are surface raised, and the areas inside them, like a card body, are surface saddle. Next, we map each of those roles to a color from our existing palette. For example, surface raised can point to slate 775, while surface base points to slate 900. And that's where the semantic layer appears between the palette and the components. After that, we do a one-time migration and replace direct color usage with these roles. That's the upfront cost we paid to fully decouple our components from specific colors, and save a massive amount of time and frustration from that point on. Now let's go back to the design requirement. We need to change almost the entire color scheme. Instead of going through dozens or hundreds of components, we open the theme, change the values behind the roles we need, say surface raised, and the entire app picks up the new looks automatically, and that's it. Something that could be easily turned into a separate task taking hours, or even days, now takes literally a few minutes, and we never open a component. More importantly, for a startup, this isn't a one-off optimization. If marketing changes direction again next week, the architecture is already ready for the next iteration. That's all for today. And one quick reminder about my Instagram. I post short version of upcoming videos there long before the full topics lands on YouTube. So if you want to see ones coming early, discuss ideas, or suggest you one, follow me there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.